What is up, Clipper Nation? And welcome to the Clip Service Podcast. Make sure to find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Amazon Music, and YouTube. And
Roll's glitching out, guys.
Twitter and Instagram at Clip Service Pod. I'm Rolla. This is my co-host Nick. Let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it indeed, guys. It is episode 72 of the Clip Service Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. Things are officially kind of turning around for the Clippers, just in terms of, the Clippers getting hopefully to 500 and looking like a competent team, depending on who you ask. Obviously, the long-term plan is still the same. I'm kind of the belief that the Clippers should start planning for the future still. I know Rolla is fully on board with that.
Definitely.
But, with everything at stake, namely the Oklahoma City Thunder owning the Clippers pick this year and, the Clippers' fate kind of falling into the hands of the Oklahoma City Thunder, or I guess the other way around, the Oklahoma City Thunder's pick falling into the fate of the Clippers' hands. I certainly don't want the Thunder to get a top 4 pick. So it is good to see these wins. And they've kind of come in bunches as of late. I mean, the last 5 games since we last talked have been, and actually I think it's been 6 games, but the first was a loss to the New York Knicks in a pretty close game up until the end. And then 5 straight wins against Brooklyn, Detroit, Charlotte, Washington, and Toronto. So like a big East Coast stretch. And the Clippers...
sorry to cut you off.
Sure.
But I do have a question. And maybe you
can
go going deeper into this later after reviews.
Okay.
But why are you so against OKC having a high pick? 1, 2, do you have a sort of hatred or dislike towards OKC for you to be so passionate about them not getting a high pick?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't want to continue to help build the Oklahoma City dynasty or whatever we want to call it. I mean, they only got 7. They've gone on a little bit of a skid lately, but they still only have, I think, 7 losses on this season.
They have 7 losses. Yeah.
I don't want to add AJ DeBanza or Cam Boozer. I don't want to add someone like that to that team and just continue to allow them to be more prosperous than they already are. If we have anything to do with it.
Would you agree that the Golden State Warriors team with Kevin Durant was probably the greatest team of all time, or
they're up there?
Probably
yeah,
the greatest dynasty of all time. And
they were up there.
How long would you say they were a dynasty for?
Like 6 years, 7 years.
Do you think within like 5-6 years the Clippers will be championship level, like a championship level team? Basically, what I'm getting at is that there's no level of OKC, whether with this pick or without this pick, that I think would literally matter to the Clippers at all.
I do, and I think that winning not only helps, the rest of the league in terms of saving the Thunder from having a really high chance of a top 5 pick or whatever, but I think that these wins, and I know we've talked about it before, Rolla, but I think that these wins especially, and I'll get to it later, but especially because the younger players have been inserted into the formula and they're actually getting meaningful minutes and they're being counted on to win games for the Clippers. Teaching these young guys to win early in their careers is really, really important, especially alongside guys like James Harden, especially alongside guys like Kawhi Leonard and Ivica Zubac and Nico Batum and all these guys that are battle tested, and some of them, have won championships. And so I think, and with the championship head coach with Ty Lue, I think that I would prefer, regardless of the let's even like set the OKC thing aside. I would prefer to, especially in a gutty win and in a win that you have to dig out of the dirt, comeback effort, or a close win down the stretch. These are like really good teaching moments for the younger guys, to kind of show them, okay, this is the type of play that needs to be made in order to pull out a win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what I have to do. And if I do it more, then my coach is going to trust upon, like, is going to have enough trust in me to give me more minutes going down the stretch. Like, I would rather see that than maybe a situation like you've been seeing in Charlotte, where it's like, yeah, all of these young guys are given a ton of freedom to play, but they don't have a lot of wins under their belt. And when you see that for too many years in a row, you see situations like you see with LaMelo Ball, where you have a supremely talented young guy, but he just hasn't had a winning culture, and he's added to that. Like, he, like, all of the guys in Charlotte prior to this year, they've actually looked pretty good this year, but prior to this year, like, they've forgot that winning is a part of these games. It's not just showing out and filling up the stat sheet, and in LaMelo's case, like, chalking up big contracts so you can buy nice cars and run red lights, when you're leaving the building. Right. Like, I think that showing young guys how to win and showing them ways that they can contribute to wins is really, really important. Mm-hmm. And so, that is another aspect of it. But I think, as a fan of this team, as a fan of the Clippers, and as a fan of, competent basketball, as I'm sure most of us are, seeing a win is a good thing. And I would feel a lot more comfortable. I would feel a lot more comfortable if we had a different GM in place, because I wouldn't be scared that, okay, yeah, the Clippers are winning, but does that mean that our GM is going to try and, like, add another veteran piece to try and, like, in the hopes that the Clippers might be able to win a championship this year? Like, I would feel a lot more comfortable if we had a different. Go ahead.
No, I agree. I think and we've commented on this in previous episodes, I think the GM has to go Lawrence Frank. I am of the crew party that believes that Lawrence Frank has put together multiple championship level teams that have failed due to injuries, poor coaching, poor playing. So I can't put that on him. I can't act like he's a horrible GM who has never done his job. I think he has done his job. Unfortunately,
at times,
haven't panned out for him. But I do think going forward, we do need a different GM. I think we do need different leadership. I think we do need a different culture set in place in the Clippers, the new Clippers Intuit Dome building. So I guess for me, I guess kind of going all the way back to my first question, I don't really care about other teams. I don't really care about the picks. Yes, the wins are cool. But we've been seeing the Clippers win for like 10 years now.
Yeah.
When was Lob City's like starting to blow up? That was like what, 2015, 2014?
They were really hitting their stride. Yeah. 2013.
2013. So I don't know. I think for me, I feel like I represent a lot of Clipper fans in the sense of, we're just exhausted, bro. Like,
yeah,
just even the way this season started off, like, it just feels like something drastic has to change. And I think that we have been pushing for big changes, which is why we got the new stadium, new jerseys, new like culture, like, you know what I mean? Trying to change our identity. I think we're still holding on to a couple pieces of a toxic past, and I think we just got to let it go and start fresh. I think OKC is a good example of a winning formula where they had a young team that was losing a lot. Like, they were losing a ton in 2019. Chris Paul came They were losing a lot. Chris Paul, I think Chris Paul was there for 1 year. Chris Paul came. They went to the playoffs that year, maybe it was, yeah, they went to the playoffs. I think they lost in the first round.
That was
But
the bubble,
that was
right?
was it the bubble? That
Pretty
was kind
sure.
of like their first OKC's like first taste of like actually being successful. They were a very poor team led by Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. They were a very bad team, and I think that you have to be bad to get good. I think that
Yeah, but I
young
think I
players
think
have
you
to
can
like.
also.
I don't think that success is linear. I think that getting rid of the toxic energy in the building is step one. And Lawrence Frank, I think Ty Lue, I think obviously I've been very vocal about Kawhi and James Harden being let go, being traded. I think Zoo's got to go also. I mean, I just don't care about the wins that we have right now, dude. Like that's just me.
Yeah, but it's also, I mean, you have to think of it like these are all things that, like, as fans, we can't help, right? So as fans, we just kind of have to enjoy the ride. It's very clear,
I
like,
think we can help.
but I mean, like, you look at like the Chris Paul situation, for example. Like, Clipper fans were very vocal about their support for getting Chris Paul, and they were very vocal about their distaste in the way the Chris Paul thing was handled. And Chris Paul is
Hmm.
still not, he's still away from the team and probably won't ever play another game unless something miraculous happens and he comes to Lawrence Frank and says, I'll change this, that, and the third. Um, like, at the end of the day, the fans like only have so much say, and I think that
I disagree, dude. I genuinely disagree. I
okay.
think that the fans do have a say, bro. I
But
like
do you
we
think that the
see it
fans
with the
clamoring for the
Lakers, dude. We
Clippers to
see it with the
lose?
Warriors.
But Lakers fans want their team to win, even when they want.
Exactly.
But even when they want guys traded, or even when they want something different for their team, I guarantee you, ask any Lakers fan, they're like, are you sad that the Lakers lost today? Regardless of how they feel about the team, they're going to be like, well, damn, I wish we would have won. But I think
But
I
but Lakers
thought.
fans, but they have a power. Like you see it when when Lakers fans are unhappy. LeBron James has said it multiple times. He says Laker faithful is like a beast to deal with because the fans have power, bro. If they don't like a player, that player can get traded. If they don't like someone in the front office, that front office person can get moved. If they don't like the ownership, dude, the ownership can go, bro. Like that's the level of power that they have. I feel like Clippers fans can be there, dude. It just feels like and it just feels like the Clippers franchise just said, "Oh, sorry about Chris Paul. Sorry about losing. Here are a couple wins." And like now it just feels like Clipper fans are like, "Oh, sick. Like we accept
I
your
see.
apology."
See that's where I no. That's where I disagree because I've talked to a lot of Clipper fans and I know a lot of Clipper fans and I see a lot of the engagement on Twitter and at the games, and I think that the sentiment is very much the same with a lot of Clipper fans. It's like, okay, yes, we're kind of over we're kind of over all of this, but if we're gonna be paying money to go to games, we're gonna be like paying subscriptions to FanDuel Sports Network or subscriptions to the NBA League Pass or whatever. I would much
Hmm.
rather see a good game in which the Clippers win and feel happy about it that night than just see more of like it sucked, dude. When we were 6-21, like it sucked. And like I hope that things haven't changed in terms of like having our eyes in the future. But then again, that's going back to what I said. Like what I think doesn't particularly matter. Like I think
Hmm.
that if Lawrence Frank or whoever replaces him or whatever, if they have their mind made up to try and plan for the future, then that's what they're going to do. But until then, I would like to see wins, Like I want to see the Clippers not be the laughing stock of the league anymore. And that's what it was looking like when they were 6-21. And I was like, you know, I'm not I'm not of the belief that the Clippers are going to do anything significant this year in terms of a championship or whatever. My bar is very low for my expectations. But in the meantime, it's nice to be able to see the Clippers gut out this win. And if anything, if we're just looking from this from a standpoint of trade everybody, fire everybody, getting these wins only boosts the players that we have, boosts their trade value, right? Like Kawhi's trade value was in the dirt a month ago, but over that stretch of a month, he's playing like a top 5 player in the league right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that I would be shocked if that didn't have an impact on how he's viewed on the trade market. Same thing with James Harden. Zoo's kind of the only one whose trade value has gone down a little bit, but it's been low like all season in relation to how he was playing last year. I mean, I hope that this doesn't happen, but even our young guys, they're getting playing time and they're showing that they can compete. They're showing that they have a place in this league. Kobe Sanders and Jordan Miller on 2-way contracts, so I don't even think that they could be traded. But like all of this stuff, if we're looking at it just from that standpoint, this is doing nothing but good things in terms of boosting trade value and giving the Clippers a little bit more leverage on the trade market if they so choose to tear down everything and try and trade for picks and try and acquire future assets and stuff like that. Like winning, I think, is good so long as we all know that the future is what we all, or not we all, but most Clipper fans have their sights on. I know I do. I have my sights set on the future, but in the meantime, you know, a win is a win, and that's why we watch these games, to watch our teams win.
Yeah, I guess I just don't think it's a win. I think
it's easy to be jaded. I completely agree.
I just think that we are like in trying to like inch forward when in reality, like I think we can take a step backwards to take a larger step forward in the sense of like Clipper fans, like I think that basically what I'm trying to get at is that I feel like when we were down, the Clippers were losing, we treated Chris Paul horribly. I just felt like the rage has kind of died down.
I know what you're saying.
I just feel like, you know, I'm watching clips of like fans going crazy in the wall, and I get it. I get being passionate about the team. But when you're like someone in power, Steve Ballmer, Lawrence Frank, and you're like, and you do something that dirty to one of the franchise greats, and then like a month later, everyone is back to normal, cheering and like screaming, and everyone's so happy about wins. And to me, it's like, to them, it's almost like, have you seen that clip of, I don't know if you watched The Boys, but
no, I don't. I should.
Okay, well,
I don't.
There's a clip where like Homelander kills someone, and then instead of everyone like raging at him, they like applaud him, and he's like, oh, like he's like, oh, what the fuck, like, sick.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a meme,
it's kind of the
right?
same thing. Like it feels like we're applauding. Yeah, it's a huge meme. Yeah, I feel like we're applauding like Lawrence Frank and Steve Ballmer for doing something like horrible. You know what I mean? So I mean, I understand from your perspective of like, yeah, getting little wins here, but I feel like we're missing out on the biggest win, and that's a championship, because we're still stuck on like small fries, pretty much.
Yeah, no, I completely I totally understand what you're saying, and it's been in the back of my mind during this whole thing, and that's why, like, you know, I've this might sound like blasphemy, especially because we have a pod about this team, but you know, I haven't watched every second of every game, you know, and like I haven't been as invested in this team as I, you know, normally am, just because for so long, or it seemed like so long, for the first quarter of the season, the Clippers were unwatchable. They were truly unwatchable. And so my expectations are still low, and I you know, I understand where you're coming from, and it is in the back of my mind, and it's a double-edged sword. Like, because I have thought about that, like, damn, like, I hope Clipper fans aren't forgetting what the real big picture is. But I think at the end of the day, going back to my point of like we only have so much say in this whole thing, I think we have to dumb it down to the point where it's like, okay, Clipper fans just have to control what they can control because, you know, I would much rather not be the laughing stock and hope that something good happens in terms of building for the future than be the laughing stock and the Clippers don't prepare for the future because I've lost a lot of faith in the front office. So, you know, I don't know. I see where you're coming from. I do. But this win streak or the recent play has been nice to see, especially because the young guys are getting involved and Ty Lue is trying other things. And actually let's just jump unless you have anything else you want to say, Ro, let's just jump right into it.
Yeah. Sorry for that tangent.
No. I think that's really good. And if you're listening to this, let us know what you think because I completely sympathize with your point, Rolla. I do. But I can't help but be pleasantly surprised with how well the Clippers have been playing lately. But the first game that I want to recap has been the game against the Knicks in New York. This one was a tough game. It was kind of indicative of the Clippers not what we were seeing earlier on in the season where the Clippers weren't getting a ton of production out of their bench. You kind of saw if you go down the box score, Nico Batum only had 3 points, 6 points from Brook Lopez. Yannick only had a point. Jordan Miller 6 points, and nobody else scored. That was a big takeaway for me in this one. Kawhi had 25, was 50% from the field. He looked great, but aside from him, 23 from James Harden, but 6 for 17 from the field. Zoo had a pretty good game, 22 points, 11 for 14. John Collins was pretty good. But, like I said, there wasn't a ton of help from the bench, and that was a part of the reason why the Clippers, a very small part, but a part of the reason why the Clippers were so bad to start the season was there was just not a lot of help around the stars. And that was kind of pretty present in this one. Deuce McBride had a fantastic game, kind of turned the tides for the Knicks when they weren't getting any shots to fall. Deuce McBride was really, really a positive for them. Hit some big shots, 16 points for him, 4 for 11 from the three-point line. Karl Anthony Towns kind of put the hammer down late. Jalen Brunson did his thing, was 9 for 12 from the field, 26 points. But yeah, the Clippers weren't able to take this win. Obviously, that's a hard arena to play in as well. Madison Square Garden, the Knicks fans are loud when their team's playing well. It's hard to kind of garner momentum, but an unfortunate loss for the Clippers, but the Clippers were able to bounce back with the crosstown team, the Brooklyn Nets, who are obviously struggling this year. They've been struggling for several years. But this was a great game from James Harden, 31 points. Literally. I don't know what the direction of the Nets is. They just drafted like 5 point guards or 5 playmakers. It's interesting what they're doing, but yeah, it's been some growing pains for them. The only bright spot for them has been Michael Porter, and Clippers did a really good job keeping him in check in this one. Only had 18 points, was 7 for 20 from the field, 0 for 9 from 3-point, which is kind of where he makes most of his money from behind the arc. So that was great. It was weird seeing Terrence Mann. It always is weird seeing Terrence Mann in a Brooklyn Nets jersey. But this was a great game from James Harden. 31 points, 10 for 13 from the field. Kawhi Leonard keeping up his hot streak, 26 points. John Collins was great, 16 points, 7 for 9 from the field. Zoo was really, really quiet in this one, 5 points, 1 for 5 from the field. Nice. Only had 6 rebounds. That was kind of a disappointment. Zoo's, again, like I touched upon earlier, like Zoo hasn't had the season that we've wanted him to, after his monster season last year. But he has been, and he missed some time with injury.
Why do you think that is, by the way?
I think it's a multitude of things. I think that like he might not be getting as many touches, with John Collins being in the starting lineup. I think maybe he doesn't get as many touches as he did last year. I think Zoo is a type of person that like operates largely on confidence, and with the Clippers, how they started the season, it's really hard to feel confident that you're a big part of this team when you're 6-21 and you're getting less touches. So I think that that's a part of it. But yeah, the one guy that I wanted to shout out in this one was this was like the first game where Jordan Miller actually got some serious playing time. Clipper fans have been pretty positive about Jordan Miller over the last couple of years. He does really well in summer league, does really well in the G League. He's got some game. He's kind of a versatile scorer. Reminds me a little bit of Terrence Mann in that regard. A lot of the guys that we've drafted in the second round remind me a lot of Terrence Mann. But Jordan Miller was great in this one. 27 points, 27 minutes, 21 points, 9 for 13 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, 5 rebounds, was a plus 10 off the bench. He was great in this one. And this was really nice to see because, again, it was Ty Lue leaning on a younger guy that maybe hasn't been given a chance this year to show that they can contribute. And he did that. He is on a 2-way contract, so hopefully he can kind of be converted after the trade deadline's over. But really good game in this one from Jordan Miller. Clippers win pretty handedly. So that was great to see. The following game was against the Detroit Pistons. I was expecting a revenge game from them. And, at times I thought we were going to get that from the Pistons. They looked like they were competing, but the only caveat was most of their starting lineup was out with injury. Cade, Beef Stew, Jalen Duren, and Tobias Harris were all out in this one. And for the first half, it did look like they were going to, put the hammer down on the Clippers and get their revenge from last game. I think the Clippers were down double digits at one point to like effectively the third string Pistons, which was tough to see. But the Clippers found a way to rally back and got out a win, a low-scoring game, 98-92. But that was behind Kawhi Leonard's 26 points. Again, Kawhi's been phenomenal over this course of winning, this kind of win streak for the Clippers. 26 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals. He looked great. John Collins had an amazing game in this one. 25 points, 9 for 14 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3. John Collins, I think a big formula in these wins has been John Collins has been hitting those corner threes, and he's really been counted upon to hit the open shots that he was missing all season long prior to this, and he's done a good job. He also chipped in 4 blocks and 4 steals, which is pretty insane. Was a monster on the defensive end. He was great. More of a quiet night from James Harden. 19 points, only 4 for 20 from the field. Chipped in with 10 free throws. Jordan Miller again played 28 minutes off the bench, chipped in with 9 points. But yeah, this one looked like it was going to be a disappointing win, and I was a little bit worried about this one when the Clippers saw themselves down. But they were able to get the win regardless. Did you have anything you wanted to say on this one, Roller?
No, not really, dude. I was just gonna comment on James Harden, and I don't really know. I mean, I haven't really been like locked in on his field goal percentage or like his stats like that, but I just feel like he hasn't really been hitting his shots the way he was to start the season.
Yeah.
And I know like Kawhi coming back and some of our team getting healthy, he's kind of like taking the ball out of his hands a lot more, but I guess I'm hoping to see him a little more consistent from the field, I guess, going forward. Yeah. I mean, obviously we haven't finished the recaps, but
no, I agree, and
the only comment I have.
I've seen that a bit. The one thing that I will say is James Harden has done a really good job leaning into what he was great at years ago in terms of forcing his way to the free throw line. I think that that's something that a lot of the guys on our team don't do enough. Is try to really will your way to the basket and draw those free throws. And so if he's not going to hit his shots, at the very least, I am happy that he's forcing his way to the line, and it's something that he's really, really good at. He was the only player in the starting lineup that did have a plus minus. So again, like what you said, he has been a little bit inconsistent in terms of maybe effort or hitting his shots, but he is getting to the line, which is a plus. But the following game was against the Charlotte Hornets. Clippers have done a really good job against them this year. Ended up pulling out the win 117-109. This was another masterful game from Kawhi Leonard. 35 points from him, 11 for 19 from the field, 5 for 9 from 3. He was great. And James Harden, 32 points, 11 for 28 from the field, 10 assists, 4 steals, only 1 turnover. Great stuff from both of those guys. The rest of the starting lineup didn't look great. 3 from John Collins, 9 for Ivica Zubac, no points for Kris Dunn. Jordan Miller, again, coming off the bench, contributing 14 points for him, 6 for 11 from the field. Brook Lopez was okay, but the story in this one was James Harden and Kawhi that combined for 67 points, which is really nice. Basically contributing more than half of the points for the Clippers. So that was great. A huge reason why the Clippers won this one. The following game to that, sorry guys, I'm just breezing through this, but the following game after that was a 119 to 105 win against the Washington Wizards. This was another game that I thought was maybe going to be a trap game, but the Clippers did a good job handling business. 33 from Kawhi, again, a monster game from him. 22 from James. Jordan Miller with 11 off the bench, and 16 from Giannis, which I think he had 16 in another game prior this season. But Giannis been awesome, and he was the thing that stood out. I think this was kind of like for people that didn't see some of the prior minutes from Giannis this season. This was being a home game as well. This was the introduction to a lot of Clipper fans to Giannis Niederhauser. He had like 3 or 4 nasty dunks. He looked like a great lob threat for James Harden. Was 7 for 7 from the field, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 2 blocks, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Giannis looked awesome. It looked a little bit like baby DeAndre Jordan at times, just in terms of the catching the lobs and rolling hard to the rim. And the Clippers, for it seemingly, aside from Derek Jones and sometimes John Collins, seemingly looked like they got another vertical floor spacer, like a lob catcher that can help a moving target for James Harden to throw lobs to, which is great, and it's something that the Clippers kind of haven't had a ton of over the course of the last couple of years. Did you have anything you wanted to take away from Giannis and the Clippers rookie? Roll it. I think you're muted, buddy.
Dude,
there we go.
I have been this entire time.
Lovely.
I was gonna say, well, first I said you were hating.
Oh, were you talking? Were you talking
when he got drafted? Yeah, yeah. I said you were hating on him when he got drafted, and I think when he got drafted, his comparison was DeAndre Jordan, because he had the wingspan, he had the athleticism, he had the dunking threat, the kind of grit that DeAndre Jordan had. So I don't know. I feel like he was always meant to be that type of player. Obviously, he's 22 years old, so he's still got a lot of developing to do. But I mean, I think his prime could be DeAndre Jordan. I mean, when you think about a young DeAndre Jordan, I'd probably say they were around the same skill level. So I think it'll be cool to see Giannis' progression throughout the years.
Yeah, I was only harsh on Giannis because there were a couple guys, and I still think that there were a couple guys that the Clippers probably should have taken. You look at Maxime Renaud with the Kings, who was available, I believe, at that point in the draft. He's been starting for them and been really, really good in Sabonis' absence. And then you have Ryan Kalkbrenner, who the Hornets drafted, who's been starting for them, I believe, and he's looked really good. Another guy, Rasheer Fleming, who hasn't gotten a lot of playing time for the Suns. I think that he was one of my favorite picks, sleeper picks in this draft. He was still available, but I am happily surprised with how, in the minutes that he's been given, how good Giannis has looked. And there's a lot of, he's still got some raw instinct that he's got to work on. He's oftentimes out of position defensively, or he has a hard time pulling down the 50-50 rebounds. But that all comes with time, and I'm happily surprised with how competent he's looked strictly as just a rim roller, screen setter, lob catcher. Because if he's gonna have a long career in this league, that's gonna be how he's gonna do it. And so, really good game from Yannick. It was cool to see, especially in front of the home crowd. That was awesome. And then the last game that I wanted to recap was a game that just finished up a little less than an hour ago. An overtime, an absolute thriller in overtime in Toronto against the Raptors. This one was, I only kind of tuned in for the second half. I was out and got home a little bit late. But this was a game of runs. The Clippers were kind of starting to put their foot on the Raptors' neck late, and the Raptors kind of came in with a haymaker late in the third, and were kind of cruising to start the fourth. But the Clippers were able to answer. This one ended up going to overtime, and the Clippers outscored the Raptors 12-8 in overtime, largely behind Jordan Miller again. James Harden and Ivica Zubac was fantastic in this one, grabbing a bunch of rebounds. Kobe Sanders chipped in with 13 points as well. This was a fantastic game. It was exciting, and this was kind of like cut from the same cloth as some of the games that I was telling you about earlier, Rolla, where I would like to see, if the Clippers are going to win games, I would like to see the younger players be counted on to and trusted on to get the Clippers the win in these close games, or games where that are kind of hanging in the balance and they can contribute in a big way. But Jordan Miller with 19 off the bench, he was phenomenal. He was hitting big shots. Yannick played 14 minutes, only chipped in with 5 points, but he had his moments as well. But Zoo, this was like one of the better games that I've seen from Zoo. Kawhi Leonard also did miss this game. He's like nursing some sort of knee soreness or something like that. And John Collins was
serious.
Hopefully not. John Collins was active in this one, but it was also interesting. This was a game where Ty Lue was really tinkering with things a little bit. I mean, you saw he had Zoo and Brook Lopez playing next to each other. He had Yannick and Brook Lopez playing next to each other. Like, he went with the double big lineups. He started Kobe Sanders. Like, this was a really well coached game from Ty Lue. Ty Washington, who's on a 2-way contract, I believe, got some playing time. So this was a really interesting game from Ty Lue, and you could see it at the end of the game. This was like the most excited I've seen him about a win in a long time. He was, happy that the Clippers were able to get it done, especially in overtime. But yeah, just one of my favorite wins of the season, despite everything. Obviously, the bar is in the dirt, but just the way that the Clippers were able to kind of gut out a win in a road game, counting on the young guys. This was a fun one. I don't know if you watched this, Rolo, or if you had any takeaways from this one.
No takeaways from this one. I didn't get a chance to watch this one, but I'm also still kind of boycotting the Clippers, as I'm sure you could guess from my earlier take.
Yeah,
but
and that's okay.
It is cool to see the Clippers get a win in overtime, and it is really cool to see the young players get some playing time, which I really appreciate. Like I've been echoing, I think that it is important for our young players to get playing time, to get experience, because I think that is the key, is to invest in the future of the Clippers. I think we are past the Kawhi James Harden era, and I think the more we play these newer guys, the more that we see their talent, the more that that we're stepping into that next era, which I would really appreciate.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that that's something that these young guys know as well. And I think that whoever decides to stick around, also shouts out to Cam Christie, who chipped in with 16 off the bench. He had a couple of really gutsy buckets late.
So good, bro.
I've been a huge fan of Cam Christie. I like Max Christie. I was excited that the Clippers drafted Cam, especially with how young he was. I think they drafted him at 18 years old. He really showed out in this one as well. Was 6 for 7 from the field, 16 points. He was great. All of our young guys really contributed, except for Kobe Brown, who I don't think Like, I don't want to throw shade, but I'm going to. I don't think Kobe Brown is an NBA player. He's had his moments, but I
Damn,
mean,
bruh.
man, I just think he's like a weird archetype, right? Like he's a big body, he's not super athletic. You would think that maybe he's a floor spacer,
Hmm.
but he can't shoot the ball. You think, okay, maybe he's a ball handler, like he's going to be like a Draymond Green type of player, but he doesn't make a lot of plays. He just doesn't look particularly confident
Right.
out there. Hopefully there is a place for him in this league. I obviously, if you've come through the Clippers franchise, I hope that you do well, but I don't know. I think that the Kobe Brown experiment is very clearly over. But
Hmm.
yeah, Jordan Miller, Cam Christie, Yannick, Kobe Sanders, all of these guys really, really showed out. And I think that this is something. What I was gonna say is this is something that these guys can take away if they become a part of this next era of Clipper basketball. Like the wins that I took previously, I can use and become a better player because of it. And like this Toronto team, their
Right.
record won't really show it, but they're really a really sound team. They have a better record than the Clippers do, and they're no slouches, and they make their money on the defensive end. And the Clippers young players were able to trust in the system and trust in their abilities and find a way to beat a pretty good Toronto Raptors team. So that was really cool.
I agree.
But yeah, that pretty much does it for the recaps. As far as games that we have coming up, we'll probably come at you guys sometime like next weekend. So the games that we'll have in between that are going to be against Washington, who the Clippers have done a pretty good job against this season. The
Hmm.
Chicago Bulls, who are kind of middle of the pack. Are they on the edge of rebuilding? Are they going to keep some of these young guys? Who knows? I really like Matas Buzelis. I think that they should build around him. That might be another trap game, an away game for the Clippers. And then the Clippers have the Los
Yeah.
Angeles Lakers, who are floundering a little bit. They had a really good win against them last time that they played. So hopefully that's going to be a good game. I will be at that game. And then finally against the Brooklyn Nets. So I don't know, Roland, what do you think? I know that you've been tuned out of these games a little bit, but considering those four games, what do you predict that the record is going to be for the Los Angeles Clippers?
The way we've been rolling recently, I think that we should win the next 3 games.
So
Um,
we're losing one, is what you're saying.
no. Sorry. We're gonna. I think honestly, I think we'll win all these games. These are. I don't want to say easy wins, but these aren't the highest level of teams that we're playing against. I think our biggest challenge is going to be the Lakers. And like I said at the beginning of the season when we played that first game against the Lakers, and it didn't look like we wanted to be there. And then we came back and actually played like we were playing the Lakers.
That kind of started
This is
this streak of wins was against the Lakers. That was when the Clippers decided to wake up.
exactly, exactly, and that's why I was so frustrated the first fucking time. But that's in the past.
Yeah,
um,
we
but
move forward.
I am expecting the Clippers to have that same energy against the Lakers on Thursday. And I think that we should be winning these next 4 games.
Yeah, I
How about you?
certainly hope so. I think if there's any games to win, it would probably be against the Wizards, the Bulls, and the Nets. I think that the Lakers are going to kind of come out swinging next game. Like I said, I will be at that game, so I really hope that I really hope that the Clippers win that one.
Hmm.
But I would be happy with a 3-1 record for sure in this next four games. But I think the most the most important thing is the Clippers need to try their best. Obviously, it's unavoidable at times, but the Clippers need to try their best to handle business early and make sure that they're resting their starters, because the one thing that we don't want in this next stretch of games is for anybody to get hurt. Obviously, the Clippers are dealing
Yeah.
with Derek Jones being out, Bogdan Bogdanovic, who I'm not sure is going to play another game for the Clippers. Again, I think that he will probably be a candidate to be traded before he comes back from his injury. Um,
Hmm.
Hopefully, Kawhi Leonard's knee thing isn't too bad, but the Clippers need to stay healthy and continue to build upon this winning kind of culture that they've built up the last stretch of games. And I think most importantly, the Clippers need to maintain trust in their young guys. And I think
Yeah.
that against three of these four opponents, I think that these are going to be great opportunities for the young guys to try and earn these wins and be trusted upon with these wins. And I think how you do that is come out firing and put these opponents away early, so that the margin for error is a lot smaller or a lot bigger, and that the young guys can be trusted upon to win these games for the Clippers.
Especially because I'm looking at our games in February, and I think when you compare the teams that we're playing for the rest of this month, I think that we need to take the wins that we can, just because the teams that we are playing next month are, heavy hitters, where, it would be nice to go into those games with, a little bit more confidence.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that confidence can win you games. When you have confidence in, the bench unit, you have confidence in the young guys. So when you need Kawhi or you need James Harden to win you those games at the end of the day, at least that, you had a confident, ready squad that, put the team in a position for, our main stars to win the games. Because I think that we will need them when the time comes, when we're playing, some of the more talented rosters in the NBA.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, here's to not dog shit basketball. Hopefully that's in the past. And then with the trade deadline coming up, who knows what iteration of the Clippers we'll see. Early February. I don't even know when the deadline is. I know it's sometime in February, but yeah, I think in the meantime, just keep stacking up those wins. Increase. It sucks to say, but increase trade value for some of these players. And I will be, like I said, I will be at that Laker game on, I think it's Thursday. So if you guys are listening and you're going to be there, hope to see you there. Hope to see Clipper Nation show out in full force. I was at the Warriors game this last time around, and it was pretty 50-50 in terms of, talking about the Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga might get traded. But
so the trade deadline is February 5th.
February 5th. Okay, Jonathan Kuminga. I wouldn't mind seeing Kuminga in a Clipper uniform. I wouldn't mind either. I'm still kind of on the Kuminga train. Like he had, obviously the Warriors haven't done a whole lot to boost his trade value the last couple of years, but he's a guy that I would like to keep eyes on. But yeah, what I was saying is I was at the Warriors game this last time around, and it was about 50-50 in terms of representation between the Warriors fans and the Clippers fans. So hopefully we don't see more of that against the Lakers. That's always kind of a bummer. I mean, props to the opposing fans for showing their support in the away arenas, but Clipper Nation needs to show out in full force against this Lakers team on Thursday, and I will definitely be a part of that. So, Rolla, if you don't have anything else you wanted to say, I think that about does it for this episode of the Clip Service Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and Deezer. You can follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at Clip Service Pod. Let us know what you guys think of the pod. Comment, like, subscribe, show your support where you can. I know we just had our 8 days of clip miss giveaway, but we'll probably have something going on in the near future. We might have more merch, shirts, or more hoodies, so stay tuned for that. And we really appreciate the support, guys, so thank you so much for tuning in. It ain't no lip service. This has been Clip Service. Rolla, tell the people what they need to hear.
Let's go Clips.
Let's go Clips.